Well, hello everybody. It is Wednesday and it's 2 o'clock, except it's not 2 o'clock, it's 2:45 because guess what? Facebook and I had a wee little go at each other. And we are off and running with Make Stories Matter. I'm Matthew Taylor, and thanks so much for joining us. Every Wednesday at 2, we kind of get together to chat about stories and ideas about how they work and how we can use them and have tips and tools and techniques that can help improve your storytelling. And also just have a kind of a pooling of the minds. I'm a big believer that the group mind is always much greater than an individual's mind, and so I'd love to be able to hear comments and ideas and thoughts as we chat along. And so this week, our topic is what is story? Yeah, it sounds very simple when you just say, what is story? But every time I ask people what is a story or what is story to them, I get all these incredibly different range of answers. So I'm interested to know what you think is story. And there's definitions out there all over the place. The Oxford Dictionary. Not that I'm English or anything. I went to the Oxford Dictionary. I went Webster. I'm sure would be just fine. But an account of imaginary or real people and events told for entertainment. The account of past events in someone's life or in the evolution of something. And the example they used, being the Oxford English Dictionary, was the story of modern farming. So, just in case you're interested, we can do that afterwards, maybe. But what do you think it is? And one of the things that I was interested about, or maybe kind of think about this, was is the story when it actually happens a story, or is it only a story when the chain of events occurs and then they're relayed to somebody else? And is that really when it is the story? And what are common elements that the story has? So the reason I started really thinking of this was I live on 32nd Avenue in just outside of downtown Denver, and it's kind of a busy place. So, and I do quite a lot of work downtown, and it's difficult to park and all the rest. So I got myself a scooter, and it's a little Buddy 50, a little red Buddy 50, and it's not one of those little electric scooters you stand on and zip around on. It's actually like a little mini motorbike kind of scooter, except it's a motorbike without the engine, because it is 49.8 cc's. Which means that most of my neighbors' lawnmowers are actually more powerful than my scooter. And I would imagine also there might be even the odd hairdryer. I mean, it literally is like riding a hairdryer. But the reason it's so underpowered is that I guess I had to make it entertaining for myself as I was tootling along at like 25 miles an hour. And so what I started doing was just going weaving back and forth along the road, and I would go woo, 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 like this going along, and and that was just kind of, it was just more fun, especially because it's on two wheels, and I kind of like two wheels. You just balance, and you don't even have to steer. You just lean, and it goes that way. And as I said, woo, woo, and I guess that noise. I don't think I make that noise when I scooter. I might, but the universal noise of like slaloming down the road. But anyway, I was doing this heading down 32nd, and there was a young guy on a mountain bike coming up the other way, probably a high school kid or something like that. And he saw me kind of doing this. And then there was a big smile came over his face. And as we just came up to pass each other, he suddenly just pulled this huge wheelie. He just lifted his bike up like this, and he just rode all the way past me on his back wheel. And it was like incredibly kind of skillful. And he had this massive smile on his face. And I just like burst out laughing and smiled, and there was me wee one way, and he was like wee going up the other way. And we passed. But what amazed me was I was completely changed. I had this amazing kind of emotional kind of feeling and like happiness for what had just occurred, and had like connected with this young kid on just such an unbelievable little quiet moment. Not a single word mentioned. I didn't know his name. I didn't know any idea about who he is or anything like that. We just did this one interaction, and by the look of his face, he also thought that was a very cool little moment. And for hours and hours, I kind of thought about it, and I've shared it with quite a lot of people. So, is that a story? Um, that's kind of my question. And for me, absolutely it is. It even has the story arc. Have, you know, the exposition and inciting incident, and the rising action and falling action, and then resolution as it goes through. And I changed from the beginning to the end in that little section. Um, So I think the piece for me that was most powerful from it was the connection. And we chatted last week, actually the week before, because I cocked up Facebook then, or they did. I don't know. We had a misunderstanding. But we chatted about why stories work, with the fact that they persuade us, and the fact that they connect us, and we remember stories, and we recall them and tell them forward to people. But it's that connection that I am so interested with when I work with stories and when I work with clients and individuals, helping them kind of craft and work and embrace this skill and harness this skill of story, because I think connection right now is one of the most important things that we can possibly do in the world. Um, and this ability for people to connect, not necessarily, and we're not talking about having to be friends or anything like that, they connect so they can hear each other. And they can certainly have different opinions and different views and ideas, but it's that ability to connect first, which will allow us to be able to kind of explore possibilities. And if the connection is as easy as me going wee down the road, everybody can do it. And those are like these little moments of stories. Now, you probably knew from the last time, I'm a bit of a fan on what I call real world tests, which is we talk about these things, but if you can then take them and go out into the world and either observe them or see them, or even initiate them, then they're probably worth thinking about and seeing whether they're things that you can include. And so these real world tests, before I show you this, I guess Steve Jobs was famous for taking a calligraphy class when he was at college, and said how much it affected him. First of all, how he understood that perhaps people having choices of fonts on computers was a big thing, but also the grace and the lines of all of his design was affected a lot by these beautiful curves of writing, handwriting. So my real world tests, you've probably realized that I did not take a calligraphy class at college or ever. A bit shaky, but think about these little real world tests. This would be the one to do. Or there's kind of a couple. One is when you where I live, the roads are fairly narrow, and so we're often having to give way to people and do things. So you wait, and a car will come whizzing by, and see how you feel if you wait for somebody to let them come by and they come through. See how you feel if they just drive right through and carry on, and then see how you feel if they come by, they drive by, and they go, "Thank you." Because for me, there's this marked difference. And then test it yourself. Drive through and don't say thank you and kind of glance as you see what the person's like, or just do that and see what happens. Invariably, the other person will thank you back or will nod. And there's that simple part. Another great way to be able to do that in real life is when you're crossing the road, especially at a stop sign. You know the car has to stop. It's absolutely there. But most people will just walk right across. But just glance at the person in the car and maybe just kind of wave or just say, hey, just acknowledge the fact. And I think what it is we are just allowing people to realize that we are recognizing other people around. And I think when we become myopic, we are in danger of not being able to see what's happening in the world, not really fully grasping all the different little nuances around us. And one of the beautiful things about stories is it allows people to be heard. And I think that is something that is deep in the core of us as humans. And so by being literally those little moments of acknowledgement, it's like saying thank you if you're in a grocery store or something. All these little tiny little moments, so simple to do, but observe how the other person reacts when you do those. So that would be kind of a little test that you can do out there just to see whether these like non-verbal kind of moments can really affect connection and how it makes you feel. And then you can kind of observe and see how it makes other people feel as well. So have a little think on those ones. We are going to like have chats every Wednesday, which is great. Normally at 2. Yes, I know it was a little late today, but it will be 2 because Facebook and I are becoming really friendly, and we're going to have no hiccups whatsoever from now on. That's the goal. You can see me smiling so big right now. I'm like, of course that's going to be the case. But I would love to have you joining and post comments. If you can share these and post these to places and let other people join in the conversation, that would be great. I do have a Facebook group, which is powerfully fun storytelling, which will be another place where people can exchange ideas and have those percolate and come up. So if you have anything and you want to shoot me a note, you can always get me at matthewtaylor.com. And I will look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, what we are going to explore is how memory has such a critical involvement in story. And so our three parts of our memory and how that affects how stories are recorded and brought back. So please, I'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great one. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you soon.